How many times has something made you angry, and then later on you've just looked at yourself and said, well, I wasn't really angry, maybe I was just frustrated. But it all comes after the reaction because you didn't give yourself a second to process the initial response. This is a prime example of having the awareness, identification, and wrapping of an incorrect word to a specific feeling. When we remain in these reactive states of being, we tend to focus on the task at hand without giving insight and appreciation to the simple and ongoing perks of the joy that's weaved into our daily existence. Taking a focused and structured course of reflective breathing can not only help to reframe our awareness of an emotion, but secure a grounding into what it truly means to us internally. Awareness is only the first step. We can be fully aware of a particular emotion, feeling, or thought process, but by having the same words associated with how we process the natural occurrences, our brain must identify and establish a new course of action to deal with the present feeling because our brain works with information, not emotion. Identifying comes in understanding what particular words mean to you and how they make you feel, as well as identifying the compartments of you where these feelings are associated with, which I like to call junctures. Helping to identify these junctures provides a solidarity and validation of the core emotion and to the relation of the feeling while giving them room to expand and breathe in their own area of use. In identifying, we not only say that I'm aware of this thing or this emotion or this state, but what we do is we give it an actual identity. So it gives a validation to a specific place and say, hey, this is your home. This is where you belong. Unraveling is a releasing from what we've gathered from what a particular word means, and if it truly means that to the core of the emotion we've identified by feeling. This undoing of the word from your feeling gives room for knowledge and growth to come in and find its place with a new, more fitting word to be associated with feeling inside the home of your juncture. When we stand back from our feelings and look at them objectively for what this word is and what this feeling is and that relationship we have between them, we can begin to unravel that. And this is where we take that word away from it and we discern for ourselves in that moment in time if that word and that feeling go together. Or if we want to correlate another word with that feeling going forward. Rewrapping deals with the tying of this newly identified word with the feeling and emotion that you're accustomed to and wrapping it in its new validity, in its new home for a more efficient recall process. This provides a new process I call reactive responsiveness, which gives way to the organic reaction when these emotions present themselves, but with a new reassured confidence of clarity in the word association. So now that we've taken that word and taken that feeling and we've put them together as we so choose, so in doing so, we take that feeling and tie that new word and we package them together so that when something happens in our life or we go through a certain thing, we're not necessarily triggered. What happens is we have a reactive response because we can trust in our reaction that it is responsive and we are secure in that word and that feeling being evoked. As we delve deeper into each junction of self that we've unraveled and wrapped with our new associations for our brains to process when something happens and we have an initial response, it will begin to feel less confusing and more confidently clear so that we can properly process what is truly happening rather than focusing on the situation and simply associating it with something as vague as a first-degree emotion like anger. Looking at our 9 junctures, they are broken down into aspects of yourself with respect to alchemic bases of being. Each has its own meaning and it's up to you to find out how you may interpret them for yourself. They can be interpreted however you choose, whether it be a state, a place, time, feeling, emotion, thought, or even a memory. Try and refrain from associating it with another person or something outside of your realm that can be personalized or romanticized. As a guide, you can take these as a starting point. Each of our junctures has a direction we can correlate with to visualize how these emotions and feelings can be processed through and in which direction. If not, they may be directed in the same direction as others, which causes disruption within the systems. These directions are meant to serve as a guide on how we can internally visualize the fluidity of these emotions while providing them with a set course of flow. Establishing a direction of the junctures provides a specific location in which we can draw our breath into and begin our intentful assessing process through each component of the body, allowing for an energetic and physiological connection. Now that we have an identification, a direction, and a heading, it's time to set forth for our target. As we begin to visualize and take those deep, controlled breaths into our body, we can mentally integrate our basis of affirmation for the process to come by focusing on the word that comes to mind as we journey through our juncture with purpose. In this process, we are not intentionally looking for anything, but placing our focus within ourselves to let it find us. Remember, your journey is a step-by-step process, and it begins with a nice deep breath. First, we need to draw our breath into the belly by focusing on the deep muscle called the diaphragm. As we bring that breath down into the belly, we start to think of the phrase, I was. The focused intent of acceptance and validation that the specific emotion that we are working towards in the chosen juncture is and was a part of us. Now, maintain your breathing into the belly, repeating this and focusing on the feeling until a specific word finds you to identify if it is not apparent right away. With the second breath, we focus on the rib cage as it expands and fills up with your breath. And with the same intent towards your juncture and emotion, we think of the phrase, I will. This indicates to your subconscious self that this particular feeling will be felt again and it is just as much a part of you as any other feeling. On the third breath, into the last physical component of your body, we bring the breath into the lungs, filling the chest cavity up as much as possible and thinking of each of the four components of the lungs rather than the top two. In this segment, we look to fill the lungs with the phrase, I am, to command that you are calling on this emotion in this present time and that it is for you to assign as the following rewrapping that you so intend. Focus on this word. Even imagine it, unraveling away from the original feeling and just sit in the feeling and experience it for all that it is without any label, correspondence, or word association. Just feel it. This is your internal treasure that's been discovered. Utilizing this moment of purity with your treasure, you can polish and rewrap it however you see fit, pulling intent from your breath and fabricating it into your inhalation of your good gems and structuring it vibrationally into your reality through the exhalation of those commands. You can carve out the life intended for yourself. As you inhale, focus on the portion of your day that brought you this pure sense, feeling, state, or idea of this particular feeling. Through your exhale, verbalize this moment of reflection to yourself, presently and futuristically utilizing your intentful affirming to its corresponding component of your body. Identifying these moments throughout your day can rewire and structure a total sense of self to become attuned towards happiness on a physical level as well as a metaphysical level. Now that our juncture has been assessed and attuned how we'd like it to be, and we've discovered some gems on the way, it's time to double check our work and cover our tracks so that our inquisitive ego can't go back and undo any new groundwork. Ask questions and you will find answers. You can never know if what you initially intended is true unless it's tested. This inner question is specific to each juncture in its own and what intentful affirmation you found to be best for the particular emotion of concern. This should be done soon after your initial tuning. Take a deep breath and set the tone in your mind of an opposing thought that stirs up that feeling inside of you just as intensely as it was felt in that moment of purity before, and then exhale. Without losing that feeling, take another deep breath and hold it in for a few seconds, almost as if mulling the feeling over in your body before the exhale. On that last breath, inhale deep through each component of your body, working from the chest down to the ribcage and finally settling into the belly. Visualize this feeling settling down deep into your belly calmly as you exhale, and envision the direction of the juncture you intend on letting it pass through, and let it go. As soon as you exhale the last bit of air, hold your empty breath and sit in the stillness of your being. Now that the calm has settled in the basin of the juncture and the waves of emotion are still and flowing, we can focus on keeping the floodgates open or closed by our means of mantra. Utilizing our inner question that stirred up that particular juncture, we want to think of an opposing mantra that will strengthen and reassure that intentful process again, so that we can assess and solidify our established groundwork. This will be something you can repeat each day you choose to reflect on that particular juncture or when something triggers it. So try to think of something easy or something that rhymes, but that has specificity towards a positive outcome that you want. This will give you the ability to allow yourself to be more open in that specific area if you choose to be filled from the world that day. Or you decide that you're full and you can close that part of yourself off from being filled. Your growth is your choice. The power to be closed or open is completely up to you, and it's important to have the mantras in place that you can revert to if necessary. The power and completion of each of your junctures comes in what you choose to do with it. You now have 9 gems that you can continuously polish, utilize, and manifest to enhance others with. This does not mean that you stop there, though. Each of your junctures is just as infinite as you are. So be curious and explore once you've become accustomed to your process and how it works for you. You are an uncharted world of emotions. Delve deep, shine brighter, and explore further now that you have a taste of what a breath of fresh care feels like. Security. This is a state where you feel most vulnerable and open while also feeling stable and grounded. If it were a shape, think of a cube. Strength. This is a state of complete empowerment and confidence of self, inside and out. Think of a trunk of a tree. Creativity. This is a state where you feel most inspired and free to flow within your enjoyment. Think of a fountain flowing from the same basin that it's from. Love. This is a state of pure, unromanticized, personal, or subjective love that is unconditional and multifaceted. Think of a perfect circle, no beginning, end, or interruption. Expression. This is a state of forwardness where you feel complete comfort in being understood, how you've been perceived. Think of a flower blooming. Connection. This is a state of insight into the outside and inside world of where your attention is. Think of a window in which you see through and integrate yourself with anything that is on the other side. Thought. This is a state of natural clarity where you can trust undoubtedly the information that is coming into you. Think of the voice in the back of your head. Purpose. This is a state of fulfillment when you feel you are most utilized and of significance to existence. Think of something connected directly to your heart and lifeline. Truth. This is a state in which you view the purest form of the world and yourself, in which the only opposing view is false. Think of a scale. Insecurity, we want to think downward energy. Grounding, secure. Strength, we want to think of upward energy, uplifting and vibrant. Strength, we want to think of upward energy, uplifting and tall. Creativity, love, and connection are all going to be infinite flowing energy, something that's perpetual, doesn't stop with any interruption. Expression. This is going to be forward energy, anything that's outward and going in front of you. Thought. We want to think backward or hindsight energy. In doing something, we want to take a step back and go through our thought process. Purpose. This is going to be left direction energy, as far as the left side of your body, which causes that balance into who we are and where our heart is. Truth. This is going to be right directional energy. Being the dualistic component of your heart, that right side direction is going to give you truth in what is truly meant for you. Being the dualistic component of your left side, where your heart is, it's going to give you that sound judgment of what's true.